You're watching Newsday TV. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ken Bufa. Long Island is preparing for possible threats against Jewish businesses, schools, and houses of worship. Now, this comes as the leader of Hamas calls for Muslims to take to the streets tomorrow. While there is no credible threats right now, Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman says there will be additional police patrols near religious institutions and businesses, and that authorities plan on using high-tech drone surveillance.
We have probably the best drone detection unit in the world outside of the U.S. military. I'm not going to go into details. I've visited it. It is state-of-the-art, and it monitors every drone that is in operation over the county of Nassau and the metropolitan area so that we know of every drone, where they're coming from, and what they're doing.
Now, Blakeman says SWAT teams are being activated and there will be increased police patrols on Long Island waterways. Now, get the latest on the war between Israel and Hamas and the impact it's having on Long Islanders. Go to Newsday.com, click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. And the state's highest court is refusing to hear an appeal of a man convicted in a deadly drunk driving crash that killed a Boy Scout. Thomas Murphy was convicted of aggravated vehicular homicide back in 2018. 12-year-old Boy Scout Andrew McMorris was killed. 3 other Boy Scouts were also injured in the crash. 64-year-old Murphy will continue to serve his 8 to 25-year sentence. And Senators Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand are pushing for crash gates following the Farmingdale High School bus crash. 2 adults were killed and dozens of students were injured last month when their bus crashed on I-84 in Orange County. Lawmakers say an emergency vehicle-only access road, also known as Crash Gate on I-84, was proposed more than a decade ago, but was never finalized. And he came to Long Island after fleeing the war in Ukraine. And tonight, a special honor for a Ukrainian refugee who rescued a driver in Freeport. Steve Langford reports.
So much.
Vladimir Zubko, the man from Ukraine who'd been in America a mere 4 days when he dove into this canal in Freeport on September 19th to pull a man out of a car that was speeding fast enough to go airborne over a boat and down into the water. Zubko now honored as a hometown hero by the village of Freeport.
There was a lot of civilians standing around pointing, but he actually dove in and made all the difference in the world.
Zubko jumped in and pulled the driver, a 37-year-old Freeport resident, over to the dock as first responders arrived on the scene to complete the rescue. Officials declined to identify the man, but say he is still recovering in a hospital.
Freeport police estimate the driver of the car was doing in excess of 50 miles an hour, but they do not believe this was deliberate.
I don't have time to think, and I just dress out my t-shirts and then jump to the marine to save him.
Local officials not content to just honor this immigrant, but offer him work, too.
Just want to congratulate you, thank you for a job well done, and if you don't, your career doesn't work out in computers, come see us. There's a Nassau County police test coming out soon. Sign up for that. We could always find a job for you here.
We're getting him an application for the fire department also.
The courage of Ukrainians on display here in Freeport. Steve Langford for Newsday TV.
He did a great job. Now, you know the holidays are just around the corner when a toy drive comes to town. Santa, along with Nassau County officials, joined the Marines to kick off the holiday season in Baldwin today. Thousands of toys have already been donated. The Marines Toys for Tots program is the nation's largest holiday gift drive for kids. Tens of thousands of toys from communities across Nassau and Suffolk counties will be collected and given to local children in need. All right, let's take a look at your Long Island weather, shall we? It was a gorgeous day today, and we have a really nice one tomorrow, too. Man, I wish the weekend looked this good, but it doesn't. We'll take what tomorrow has for us, though. Temps in the low 60s to high 50s. Sun all day.
Long Island weather is brought to you by Home Tax Saver, PTRC Incorporated. Long Island weather is brought to you by Home Tax Saver, PTRC Incorporated.
Experts say in the not too distant future, snowbirds could be flocking to the Hamptons. Tiwa Chang has part 2 of our special series, Climate Change Impact on Long Island.
By 2050, Long Island weather could be like the South if nothing changes. That's the prediction from some climate experts.
We will, almost certainly in 2050, be experiencing more extreme heat waves. That has a real impact on public health.
Under the worst case scenario, our summers would be like Georgia and South Carolina. And man, if you've ever been down there in the summer, it is hot.
And like the South, there will be more allergy-causing pollens and more insects like ticks and mosquitoes. But the biggest impact will be flooding. By 2050, Professor Mandia predicts the ocean level could be about 1 foot higher. And depending on elevation, Long Island's shoreline could be about 50 feet farther in than it is now.
Any place that you go down toward the water and you go into a town or a village, any place like that is probably going to flood.
That means communities like Long Beach, Lindenhurst, and Freeport will be flooded or submerged during major storms, as happened during Sandy. In 2050, nor'easters may be more likely to flood roads and homes because they last longer than hurricanes. Rebecca Crush lives in Freeport, several blocks from the ocean. Though she had her home raised, it's still flooded during a storm.
It would be a great concern to us because we love living on the water and being near the water. But it definitely, you have to take into account the weather change and climate change living in this area.
Climate change could also create a tidal wave of financial hardships. Insurance rates in flood zones could become astronomical or unattainable. If more homes are damaged than abandoned, that could drive property taxes up, and local governments would be forced to spend money to raise roads and beef up sewage and drainage systems to handle the floodwater. That's on top of the $500 million a year already spent rebuilding and fortifying our beaches. Tiwa Chang for Newsday TV.
Now you can watch part 3 of our special series tomorrow, and you can read more about climate change on Long Island. Just go to Newsday.com, click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. Volunteers are helping to bring gardening knowledge into the community. It's a story you'll see only in Newsday.
You see all those seeds in there? Yeah. And it amazes me that one little tomato can have so many seeds in it. This is like generations worth of plants. I chose this garden as my Master Gardener Action Project. It actually chose me because I was already a member of the garden and I wanted to see the garden flourish, and I was doing a lot here and it was taking a lot of time, so I figured I could just build on what I had already started. Today the class that I'm giving is going to be on seed saving and preservation. The special thing about cilantro seeds is that when you collect them, you can either save them for next year's planting or you can let them dry out, and it's a spice called coriander.
I've learned from Naja to distinguish weeds from a regular plant. Also, the different types of vegetables that we do grow and how to prepare them. It has benefited me in relaxation, peaceful tranquility. You name it, it's done that.
I'm hoping that my efforts get the garden recognition, because there's a lot of people in the town that still don't know about the garden, even though we've been here over 10 years now. I'd like to see it increase in size. I'd like to see our membership numbers stay up because we're not funded, so it's membership. Everything here is membership driven, and every day is a learning process. I learn from the gardeners, and I just learn in everything that I do here. It's a lot, you know. Gardening is not the you know, just throw the seed in the ground and pick the vegetable. There's a lot involved in between.
Now to read more on this story, go to Newsday.com, click Get More below the Newsday TV video box.
What's Up on Long Island is brought to you by PC Richard & Son.
All right, here's what's up on Long Island. The Oyster Festival is back, baby. They're eating and shucking contests along with pirate shows, live entertainment, arts, and craft vendors. It's this weekend on the waterfront at Theodore Roosevelt Park. Or the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer event is Sunday on the boardwalk at Jones Beach State Park.
Oh, hi. What are you doing out in this mess?
Made me jump. Or catch a screening of Friday the 13th on Friday the 13th. The 1980 horror classic stars Betsy Palmer, Kevin Bacon, and others. It's at the Suffolk Inn, Riverhead. Now for mission info, more events, click Get More on the NewsdayTV video box.
It makes a difference when people see their faces and their experiences reflected in our newspaper. I think it makes them feel seen in some way.
Newsday, covering Long Island like no one else can.
You're watching Newsday TV. I'm Ken Buffa. Thank you so much for joining us. We leave you now with a look at your 7-day forecast.